The RNLI are the Royal National Lifeboat Institute.
They were established in 1824 in Dorset.
They operate in 238 locations across the whole of the UK and Ireland, such as Exmouth, Dover and Baltimore.
Their headquarters are based in Poole.
They are a registered charity. Therefore, most of their employees, approximately 95% in each lifeboat station, are volunteers.
We will be talking about how they recruit and the documentation needed for the process.
We will also be talking about the employability and skills required when applying for a specific role within the RNLI.
Another part of the RNLI that we will be discussing is the physical and technological resources required within the RNLI.
We start off with the recruitment process and all the documentation that is required when applying to work for the RNLI.
One of the most important documents needed to apply for the RNLI is the person specification.
The person specification is a document that outlines the required criteria needed for the job.
It should state the attributes needed and state what they class essential and desirable.
In the case of the RNLI, some attributes that may be required are experience, practical skills, communication skills, and personal qualities.
Some essentials criteria and skills that they would require in the RNLI are being able to work with people, swim 200 meters in 3.5 minutes, run 200 meters in the sand within 45 seconds, be reasonable and articulate, being courageous and being able to use your own initiative.
Examples of desirable traits include maritime experience, lifeguard experience, trained in first aid, and experience with sonar equipment.
An example of RNLI person specification could look like this.
Another important document needed for the recruitment process of the RNLI is the job description.
The job description is used to describe the main tasks that the job will entail.
The job description will also list the duties and responsibilities that they will have to manage.
An example of RNLI job description will have to include the job overview, key responsibilities, experience required, and qualifications needed.
We will be talking about an example job description or profile for a lifeguard.
For a lifeguard, the job overview is to monitor and advise beach and water users, and to provide and coordinate rescue activities under the supervision of a senior or a lifeguard supervisor.
Some key responsibilities are operating a four-wheel drive vehicle, an ATV, in line with RNLI standard operating procedures, carry out a rescue response to any person seen to be in difficulty in the sea, and to inform other services if backup is required. Maintain a positive image for the RNLI in all dealings with clients and public.
The qualifications required for the lifeguard position are to have a current internationally recognized beach lifeguard qualification, GCSE English pass or equivalent, good level of literacy, spoken, reading, written and listening.
Some desirable qualifications may include a current valid UK driving licence, casualty care for lifeguards, and a pass in GCSE Maths.
There is no experience required for the lifeguard position, but it is desirable to have knowledge of the beach and surf environment and previous experience of lifeguarding on the beach.
An example of a job description or profile may look like this.
The last document that the RNLI will be using during the recruitment process is the application form.
The application form normally consists of personal information, educational background, work experience, personal statement as well as a supporting statement. In the RNLI, you will need to fill this form in because you need to show sufficient past work experience to say that you are qualified for this job.
We will now be talking about the main physical and technological resources that are used within the RNLI.
Physical resources is all the tangible assets that the organization uses in their day-to-day running.
Some example of the physical resources that the RNLI use is listed as follows. Lifeboats, which costs varies on the models. Water shielding helmets, which cost £263. Boots, which cost £54. Dry suits, which cost £696. Waterproof jackets, which cost £349. All-terrain vehicles, which cost £7,000.
These physical resources are essential for the RNLI to operate on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, they have to be maintained as well, normally with a cost. You can split some of these resources into current and non-current assets. Current assets are short-term resources that are used but can be sold quickly if needed, such as life jackets and boots. Non-current assets are long-term investments, such as buildings and lifeboats.
Lifeboats, helmets, and dry suits have to be regularly maintained by being cleaned and washed down. Lifeboats may have some damage, but they will be repaired until they have to be replaced, as inflatable lifeboats have an average lifespan of 10 years before they need to be replaced.
The RNLI also hire and employ people specifically to maintain lifeboats, normally being a paid job because of the big responsibilities and tasks they undertake.
The lifeboat station and headquarters have to be maintained regularly. This is because most of the equipment that they use are all kept in there. There is also normally a designated person who maintains and takes care of these resources, presumably also paid.
We will now be talking about technological resources.
Technological resources are items or equipment that are used within the organization that use modern technologies.
Examples of technological resources are computers, sonar systems, modems, routers, monitors, and pagers.
These technological resources must be maintained, normally by the crew or volunteers.
Computers, modems, routers, and monitors are maintained quite regularly but can be maintained easily by the crew members.
However, the sonar system is much more complex system that needs to be maintained by experts, which may be one or two people from the crew trained to do this, or this may be outsourced to contractors who cost money.
Both types of resources cost a lot of money. The RNLI's running costs per day in 2016 was about £485,000.
Also, for every launch, there is a cost behind it. For the smaller lifeboats, such as the D class, it costs around $1,200 to launch, while the bigger lifeboats, such as the Sharon class, costs around £7,000.
To cover these costs and run smoothly, the RNLI need your donations, so please donate generously. Thank you.
Thank you.